But for now, we're going to go ahead and get to the news of the day. And that is, this morning we are awaiting another development in the Suzanne Simpson case.
That's right. She's the Olmos Park mother who was reported missing by her husband, Brad, 1 month ago. So yesterday, her husband, Brad Simpson, was formally charged with Suzanne's murder. This all happened on the same day that KSAT broke the news that Brad's business partner, James Vale Cotter, had his bond reduced.
Well, this was the scene outside of the Bexar County Jail yesterday, showing a convoy of law enforcement vehicles leaving the jail. Brad Simpson was inside one of the vehicles. They took him to a DPS office to be questioned about his wife. And Brad Simpson was already facing several charges in connection with Suzanne's disappearance. However, it was the first time that law enforcement said that Suzanne was murdered, even though her body was not been found. Now, law enforcement officers believe they have enough evidence now to charge Brad Simpson with that murder. So it's something that rarely happens in the state of Texas.
That's right. And as for James Cotter, his bond was significantly reduced. Cotter was facing, or is facing, 2 felony charges related to the Suzanne Clark Simpson case.
Well, initially it was up to $1 million when he was charged with evidence tampering and intent to impair an investigation. His bond is now at $100,000. Now, if Cotter posts that, he will also follow certain rules. He cannot have contact with Brad, nor can he have possession of a gun, and he has to have a GPS tracking monitor. So we've been watching this very closely, and he hasn't posted bond yet. We should learn a lot more about this case later this afternoon when all the law enforcement agencies involved in this case hold a news conference happening at 2 p.m. So you can follow all of our updates on this case and more on KSAT 12, KSAT.com, or by downloading the KSAT app on your phone and streaming device.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of angles to this, obviously a lot of ways that we're covering it, and we now bring in Erica Hernandez, and she's going to be joining us house to explain everything that basically went down yesterday. Erica?
Yeah, good morning. So a lot went down yesterday, and as we just saw there, Brad Simpson being charged with murder.
Well, Erica, we were just wondering, the arrest, a murder warrant was sealed by the judge for 30 days. Is that a common thing?
Sometimes. It kind of was a little shocking because usually when a murder warrant is signed, we're able to get a copy of that to see what was kind of leading up to this arrest, some of the evidence that they may have found that kind of showed why they charged him with murder. But the fact that it's sealed, while it's not uncommon, it does happen. We have seen it happen before. This is kind of telling me that maybe they're still trying to work on some issues on that case, or there might be a key piece of evidence they don't want kind of out yet to the public. So it'll be interesting to see what they say later on at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and if they're going to provide any more of that information, because I know one of the big questions we're also getting is, how do you charge somebody without a body? So I know we kind of we did a story last month about it. While it is not impossible, there's also another case right now in Bexar County of a gentleman who is charged in his wife's murder, whose body has never been found. So when we talked to a legal expert and a former attorney on this issue, they said yes, it's possible, but it is a very hard case to try. They have to have overwhelmingly enough evidence to prove that she is dead and they know what caused it.
Yeah, Erica, so I know you guys were working on this all day yesterday afternoon, and now that we see some of these charges that Brad Simpson is facing, what happens next?
Yeah, so the legal process kind of goes into play. As long as he is in jail, now it's up to the DA's office to indict him. Unless his attorney asks for some type of motion hearing for a bond reduction or just for any kind of information on usually it's bond issues, but until then, we won't know until he's fully indicted. Once he's indicted, then he'll get assigned a courtroom, and then from there we start the proceedings on how to move forward. It'll be in that courtroom. It'll be a long time from trial. I would just say that and put that out there, that as far as a trial date or when this could possibly happen, I don't even think next year. It's going to be a while. The system just kind of moves that way. There's so many cases in Bexar County, and it gets set in the docket, and then it gets reset, and then there's a lot of things in play.
Going back to Cotter, we hear that he got a bond reduction. Was that a surprise at all?
No, I think it would have been a surprise if they would have kept the amount. Because of the charges that he is facing, they're third-degree felonies, and usually with somebody who doesn't have a prior history, is not a reoffender of any kind, those types of bonds are set pretty low. Around $25,000 is kind of average, which we'll see. And I thought his attorney made a great point in those hearings earlier this week that, I've had clients be charged with murder and get less of a bond. So I think he had to lower that bond. I was a little surprised about how much. We did go from $1 million total to $100,000. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to now make that bond. And obviously we're watching that and see if he's going to be making that today or not.
So again, we're expected to hear from law enforcement agencies 2 o'clock, right?
Yes, that's
kind
2
of the
o'clock.
plan.
We will be live streaming that press conference. So obviously you could see it here on KSAT 12.
All right, Erica, thank you for following this story and keeping
Yeah,
us
a lot
updated.
of developments. You guys have
Yes.
done a great job covering
It's been
this
a great team effort. I mean, we have
yeah.
a lot of moving parts, so a lot of us are on it and keeping track of
A
it.
lot of people obviously watching and paying attention to this case as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Erica.